thing.
Sorry, we're live. I sent the questions. They should be in the group chat.
Okay.
Hi, this is Jennifer Collins. This is week 6 of module 5 of the University of Dayton TEFL. Oh wait, module 4 of the University of Dayton TEFL certificate.
This is Carolina Carrillo. So yeah, let's share some feedback about the lesson plans we have.
Great. Well, okay. Do you want to start?
You have your questions there, right? The reflection questions.
Yeah, the reflection questions. It says provide the theoretical rationale for your decision and both what you decided to teach and how you decided to teach. So theoretical rationale, I guess I could say that some of the things that I've been doing over the course of this class has been trying to change sort of some of the activities that I do to focus a little bit less on grammar and focus a little bit more on themes, because that seems to be something that is important for the class. So in order to try to kind of take a more top-down approach rather than a bottom-up approach, that's one of the things that I've really focused on. And I think I definitely introduced the grammar in a way that was a little bit different than I normally do. Even though it is grammar, I wanted to talk about fears, and fears can be easily related to second conditional. So I started out talking about fears, which is something that we talked about in the previous class, to try to continue that, and then kind of carried that through. So when I introduced the structure, I actually didn't tell students what it was. I just kind of like introduced it and started asking students to produce it in the classroom. Like I would do something, you know, and just asking them to try to kind of mirror my own speech, and it worked pretty well. But that was mine. What principles for teaching, listening, speaking, and reading or writing skills did you apply in designing and carrying out your lesson? I've been having like a more integrated approach. Students are still pretty low level, so I've been having kind of a more integrated approach to writing in my class. So I try to do like question and answer. I had students write survey questions and then ask each other the survey questions, then write each other's responses. So that's kind of like how I've been doing listening and speaking and writing in the class. As far as reading, students were reading a little bit more in the previous class. However, in this case, they did actually have to read some questions that were asked about video beforehand, and that actually was great because it brought out some vocabulary that I didn't teach them beforehand, but they were asking me about it during that, so that worked out really well. And I was quite happy with it. And I was glad I didn't teach it beforehand. I think out of context it would have been really weird. And then what are the strengths of your lesson? Identify. Okay, I suppose this could be like you, maybe. Identify the strengths of your lesson, and then identify aspects of the lesson that could be improved critically, and examine how they could be improved. If you were to teach the lesson again, how does your lesson plan and teaching demonstrate what you've learned in Module 4? So I think I talked about, oh, bless you. I think I talked about some of that stuff already. Yeah, maybe you talk about strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, well, yeah, so that's all, I mean, about your lesson. That's like the main points.
Do you want me to go through it? Like, do you want me to talk about what I was doing more?
No, I think it's okay. It's really clear because your lesson plan is very detailed. So what I found very interesting regarding your lesson is that you had some time to help students with some difficulties. I mean, like those who are like working at a lower pace. So that's great because it's really important, like to take into account like these special cases, or well, just to support them. And I also think it's very important, like to set real context on this topic about fears
Mm.
is like very interesting to students. So it's great, like teach vocabulary and things related to this topic this way, because they will feel engaged and they don't go like straight to grammar.
Mm. Mm.
So I think it's really important. And you know something, I have just realized for instructional activities, you were supposed to write down hook or activity or review. Yeah, because I didn't write this way. So I thought
Mm.
about something different, but I think this is very important, because this way you know when you're reviewing something or introducing or
Mm.
simply going or yeah, like asking students to work on a specific activity. So I think it's great. And
That's
I
been
think
one of
it's
my
interesting
goals.
if you and if you take into account that you work with adults, that's a very appealing topic.
Mm.
It's very important. It's not the same to teach this topic, let's say, to kids. They
No.
may feel threatened, frightened. I don't know, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. It's different to work this topic with adults. So
Yeah.
I think it is really clear. And the four objectives are achievable, I mean, are realistic. So I think it is great. And yeah, the materials are, let's say, simple materials. I mean, easy to
Hmm.
get, so it's great. Yeah, I think it is very clear.
I was happy because I felt like um, the stu- the I used a clip from the movie Blade Runner, and like I thought the students wouldn't understand it very well.
Mm.
Like I thought it might be really hard, but I thought, well, it'll be fun to try it and just see.
Yeah,
And the students
to have
actually
a
understood it.
challenging.
Yeah, challenging, definitely, because like
Hmm.
the way that they speak in the movie is a little bit like difficult to understand. But I was really surprised the students understood. Most of the class understood everything. A couple of people didn't understand the very beginning, and so we just replayed the question, and then they did understand, which I was really excited about. So this class definitely focused less on reading, and
Hmm.
it may have been helpful to include a little bit more reading in it, but we did, like I said, we did do the reading in the previous class, so it was kind of uh, in tandem, I guess. Um, so yeah. Maybe the one other thing that I didn't do very much with this particular class, it's the last class that I'm teaching this group of students.
Mm.
And so I didn't want it to be really focused on the book. So that was personal.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
in another class, I could have probably focused a little more on the book, which I have been
The book.
using through the whole course, but it just felt kind of out of place for this last class.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a personal choice, but it's okay. It's very good and very detailed and clear. Well,
Okay, do you
well,
want to talk
why?
about yours?
Yes, I work with beginners.
Uh-huh.
So I started the course with 10 people, but right now I have like 2 people. I mean, those are the ones that attended the last class, because I
Yeah,
had to teach it in advance last week, because, well, I'm like um, abroad, so
yeah.
I taught this class last Thursday. And since this was the last class of my course, I mean, for the semester, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I had been very respectful with affective filter, like not putting students under pressure to talk and these things. But I
Mm-hmm.
thought the integrated teaching approach gave me like some ideas about, challenging or let's say, introducing students to speaking activities.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked some reading activities with them, and then
Mm.
they role played a
Yeah.
dialogue.
Yeah.
So I think it was great because, well, when you have like quite a few people in your class, they may feel more confident, so
Mm.
they don't feel like on the spot, you know. So it was a good opportunity because the interview was happening. Well, from the text, you can read the interview was um, like very simple, and there were two people participating.
Hmm.
So it was great, and my students felt encouraged when they looked at the camera and realized they were going to be recorded. So
Mm.
it was really good. I think they felt yeah, when compared to the first day of class, they felt they could do something.
Mm.
So of course they were reading, but they were more confident and they were able to improvise. So I felt really happy
Nice.
with the result. Of course, I have to do some adjustments for future lesson plans because I told you I didn't take into account the instructional activity points. So
Mm.
next time I will. But yeah, it was very simple because it was only 45-minute lesson, so it was half half your lesson because yours was 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It was an
Yeah.
hour and a half. Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was really short because that's the time the company has given us. I mean, like to
I
do
wish
this
it were 45 minutes.
activity.
Then maybe people would come on time and then, and then do it in that time. I think it's great. English bites, little bits of English. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's really simple and yeah, I
And
think
it's
it's
less
enough
less to
to
prepare.
introduce people. You know, my purpose at the very beginning, or well, my purpose has been to keep students' interest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, it is great if they tell me they want to study English somewhere else.
Yeah.
If they want to pay a course or to do whatever online or in
Yeah.
person, whatever. But that's what's really important to me.
Nice. Nice.
So
Yeah.
that's all.
I
That's all
like
about my lesson. I think it's really simple.
I'm reading or I read your lesson and I really like the idea of showing students vocabulary using digital images. And I
Hmm.
just was curious, did you do that with an iPad or did you do it with, how did you do it? Were you
Yeah,
projecting?
I work with my laptop and we have a
Okay.
video beam because we work
Nice.
like, yeah, the course takes place in these conference rooms, little
Yeah.
rooms. So yeah, there we have internet connection, video beam, and that's how I work with them. Well, it's
Nice.
not something I use all the time because it becomes like boring using the same stuff. Yeah, every single class, but yeah, it helps when you want to introduce something. Sometimes I
Mhm.
try to draw items on the board, but I'm not very good at drawing, so I
Yeah.
rather prefer showing digital images.
And I also liked the way that you set students up for the role play, like you prepared them for the role play with the reading aloud activity, which it seems like that's sort of designed to give them or like to give them vocabulary, to give them
Mhm.
form, to get them used to the idea. And then
Yes.
and then you have them actually reproduce it themselves. I thought that this is very much like along the lines of what we've been learning in the course. So it's like it's great. It's really similar. In some ways, it's like totally like it seems to be really nicely influenced by the some of the sort of digital observations that we've done.
Mhm.
It's really good. Yeah, yeah, I
Thank you.
really like it. Yeah, yeah, that's great. Oh yeah, this is a question I had. Did they actually have did they read some of their text or were some of the students actually able to speak without reading?
Well, they read the text because they don't have like
Yeah,
mm, lots of words. I mean they don't master lots of structures or words. So
yeah.
they read a little bit, but then afterwards, when they had already finished this part of the exercise, I asked them to improvise a dialogue,
Mm,
like talking about personal things. So
Cool.
maybe it is not there, but it was something extra. Yeah, it was like something I decided to do, and it was great because they were able to talk about, like to exchange real information.
Oh,
So
cool.
it was great. Yeah,
Oh, good. Okay, that's really cool.
yeah,
That's really good, especially if they're beginners. Really nice.
yes.
Good. Wow, cool. Nice. I honestly think if we had any students at the end of this, we were in good shape. So, so it's good that you had two. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, the only other question that I have for you is because I have been really struggling with being able to do and make sure that I plan review activities for the end. For one, they have to be really you have to be able to expand and contract the activity. Like it has to be something that can either be very quick or something that can take a lot of time. So in this case, we actually went kind of a lot over in my class because, again, it was the last day and I also brought treats for the students and stuff like that. But we ended up doing a review activity where I had the students ask another question sort of related to the list of questions that they had at the end that were related to the video clip. But it went way over. Like, I would never have done it if it weren't for a day when, the students were kind of hanging out a little more. So I don't know,
But
like,
that's great because it was recycling structures and vocabulary, and that's great.
right, like that's what you're supposed to do. But I have a really hard time coming up with something that's a good review, but can also be done quickly. Do you have any suggestions?
Let me think about it. Okay, so maybe are you working with students, monitoring other students outside the classroom? I mean, do they have any groups, like support groups, like let's say those students who are keen, they can help others outside the classroom. So maybe if you have some remaining questions, yeah,
Oh,
and
that's a
it
good
takes a
idea. I've
long
never
time.
done
Yeah,
that.
maybe you can do that. Yeah, and they can work. I mean, like I don't know, through WhatsApp or text messaging, and they can solve things before actually getting into the new class again, to the new lesson.
Okay, it just occurred to me that might work. Another way to do that might be to have students quickly see. Sometimes when it's a verbal review, it can take a really long time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if you perhaps, like if I had students write their question so that those who
No,
want to go faster could leave sooner. Do you know that's the other thing. I also want to be really respectful of their time. So like if I had them write the question and then hand it in to me and then I read it before they leave, that might be a way to like actually do a quick review but not to use up the time of the students who don't want to,
yeah,
who
that would
want to
be
go.
great. But if you want to go deeper on a topic, maybe you can work with students outside the classroom. That's great
That's
too.
a good idea too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it depends on
maybe
the activities you said. Yeah, if it's
like,
reading a long book or yeah, things like those, you could have. Actually, that's something similar to what we have because we're like some. Yeah, we're part of a group. I mean, we two are part of a group, and yeah, the idea is that we share experiences. Yeah, that we analyze the situations we have. That's
or
great.
like the other thing, we've talked about this in our message boards about, making a WhatsApp group or something like that. So I could also have the students maybe even shoot me a question or shoot me something via the WhatsApp group. So that might be another way to do that. But like
That would
maybe
be
more.
very useful. I think that would be great.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Those are good to think about for future classes. Thanks. Cool. Do you have
Thanks.
any other questions or thoughts before you go
No,
out
I
in
think that's
Seattle?
all. Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, there's a plan about, like tasting wine, going tasting wine, because
Nice.
my family have some, yeah, let's say like some,
Nice.
I don't know how to say that, like They are members of a group, so they can just
Oh,
like
fun.
go and try one.
In Eastern Washington, they're sort of known now. They're becoming known for growing wine, for growing grapes
Yeah.
to make wine. So it's very exciting. Good. Well, have so much
It
fun.
sounds good.
And thanks so
Thanks
much
a lot.
for meeting with me.
Okay,
All
Jennifer.
right.
So see you in
Talk to you soon.
Mexico.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
See you in Mexico soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.